I want to do the show, but I want to set it up so that everything runs like clockwork, and I just show up and perform, and that's like my plan. And so that's like what I'm trying to set up. So I want to just show up and I want to perform. Then I'm actually doing something else on the side, which is a little bit extra, which is so I make a lot of video games, as you know, and I have a website called High Score Wins Money. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a game for the show called Dynamo Kingdom. Okay. And so this Dynamo Kingdom game, when people come to the show, they can log in and play the game. And if they win the game that night, they get $100 bar tab for the next show. And then the game is going to serve ads. So I'm going to send people to the local businesses and have them buy ads in the game because it's going to be like all over the neighborhood. And so it'll be just like advertising with coupons all over the neighborhood. And then so I'll go to the neighborhood businesses and I'll be like, hey, do you want to be on this thing for $100? You can be on it for a month. And then I'll be able to track the numbers and know exactly how many people click on things so that I can just sell advertisements to people, and that'll also make money for the show.
This is episode 108 of the Arts Academy podcast with Victor Varnado and Roxxy Haze. How to make money with a bar show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Arts Academy podcast. It is Dean Victor Varnado, and I'm here with Roxxy Haze, Headmistress Roxxy Haze, right?
Headmistress. I don't know why I wanted to sing it.
Yeah, Headmistress. Great singing. Anyway, Roxxy Haze, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. I missed you.
I like that you straightened up your bed in the background.
Barely.
Anyway, so I'm going to start. This podcast is about entrepreneurs and who are artists. Okay, so for a while we've just been answering questions about the entertainment industry, and we've been saying like, hey, this podcast is about the mechanics of the entertainment industry. I wanted people to know like what happens when you go into a pitch meeting, etc. And we're still going to talk about that kind of stuff. But I realized that what I've been doing for the past few years is really just being an artist who is also an entrepreneur. And all artists are entrepreneurs. But one thing that I think I have that is really useful is I'm an artist, and I've been through an accelerator program recently. And I've been through an accelerator program, and I've just been studying as much as I can, just like the art of business and entrepreneurship for the past like 6 or 7 years. And that did land me in the accelerator, where they have people who really know business backwards and forwards. Like they have MBAs in business, and they're like the head of marketing for like Pepsi and things like that. And then let me turn this off. Sorry, my phone. So the head of marketing for things like Pepsi, and they do, people from JP Morgan and JP Morgan Chase and Pfizer, like who make their biggest buys and investments, like they're advising us. And so I'm using a lot of what I've learned to fuel my artistic projects. Anyway, not saying, I'm just saying that like, I think that if we as artists can figure out how to make things make money for us, even when we're at a low level, like you can sustain yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna start a bar show at a bar near my house. Okay, and I'm gonna start the bar show. I'm gonna make the bar show financially successful at the beginning. Bear this in mind, though. I don't want people to think that in the past 7 years I've just been killing it. I've had like very hard times money-wise, and I've learned a lot of hard lessons. But it has gotten me to the point where I try to, as much as I can, I will try and fail safe a project or system as much as I can, because I've learned the hard way, and it cost me money, and it wasn't fun. Anyway, here we go. So I'm going to start a bar show, and here's what I think. So if you want to start a bar show and make it immediately profitable, I think the easiest thing to do is to just make deals with people that make everybody pretty happy. And so the first deal that I made to start a bar show is I went to the bar and I was like, hey, what day do you have the least amount of traffic? What if I filled that traffic up and these people came and bought a lot of drinks or whatever? Would you give me like a couple of $100 a week to do that. Okay. And the bar was like, yeah, we would totally do that. All right. So then I'm like, great. Okay. And so then um I now let's say the number is $200. I won't say exactly what I'm doing with this bar because I don't want everybody to like I don't want everybody to know the bar's business XYZ, but in respect, but I will say this. Okay, so let's say the number is $200. And then so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 100 of those dollars, okay? And I'm going to find someone locally who's a promoter, someone who lives in the neighborhood and promotes shows, and just be like, hey, I will give you $100 a week to fill up this room. That's it. It's a free show. All you have to do is fill up the room. Okay. So number two, then I will take some of the money. And at bar shows, not everybody makes like a crap load of money, but I'm going to take part of the money and I'm going to give some money to the comics. And I'm going to bring in local headliners. For New York, that's actually a big deal because headliners in New York are serious. Like they're like some of them are like, you know, nationally, internationally known comedians. Like for instance, I will definitely like a friend of mine, Mark Norman. Do you know that comedian? Okay, he's a comedian. Mark Norman is a comedian. He's also a lot of people. He's a lot of controversy around Mark Norman, but he lives in New York, and
Mark
so like
Norman.
if he's in New York, and I would text him up and be like, "Hey, you want to come to the show?" Then at a bar show, sometimes people will just drop in if you just give them enough money to like pay for their Uber fare when they're in New York. You know, so like if you give them like $25-$30, so I can just say to all these comedians that I know who live in New York, I'll just be like, "Hey, you want to come to this bar show? I'll give you, you know, $30. You can try out new material, whatever." And then so I can actually get headliners to come to the show.
I've seen this dude. Sorry.
Yeah. But the plus around that is, I mean, and I'm just taking advantage of where I am in New York. Okay. But the plus about this is now I can have the promo guy, the guy who's doing the promo, he'll be promoting a show in a neighborhood that people can walk to this show, okay, with names that people are going to recognize that are national. And now I think that if you're not in New York, you can still replicate this easily. I think by paying attention to who's traveling in your comedy club, like at your local comedy club, who's headlining at the comedy club. I guarantee you that if a headliner is like around, or maybe they're a day early, you know, and then they're just like farting around, and you're like, "Hey, come to this bar show. We'll throw you like $50, you know, to just come in and mess around." I bet they would do it. And in fact, I'm pretty sure they would.
Jokes and stuff. Yep.
Right, and then so then I have part of the money, which is also going to like comics who are not headliners but are funny, and they also get spots in the show, and I pay for them too. What the reason that's good is because two things happen. One, you know, I can have that a backup, because sometimes headliners have to drop out at the last minute. I'll have a backup there, which is going to be great. And then number two, so I'll have that as backup, and then number two, I'll have like spots to like, you know, help and trade, you know, because people trade spots when you want to grow your show. That's just one thing that people do all the time. And I'm trying to like practice for my album, and so I'm trying to I want to have more spots anyway. So running a good show will help do that. Then then I also have a comic who I've made a deal with, and so my deal with her is that she's going to help promoting the show and running the show, and I'll be more just like coordinating, like, you know, from the top. So that basically what I'm trying to do is I want to do the show, but I want to set it up so that everything runs like clockwork, and I just show up and perform. And that's like my plan. And so that's like what I'm trying to set up. So I want to just show up and I want to perform. Then I'm actually doing something else on the side, which is a little bit extra, which is, so I make a lot of video games, as you know, and I have a website called High Score Wins Money. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a game for the show called Dynamo Kingdom. Okay. And so this game, this Dynamo Kingdom game, when people come to the show, they can log in and play the game. And if they win the game that night, they get $100 bar tab for the next show. And then the game is going to serve ads. So I'm going to send people to the local businesses and have them buy ads in the game because it's going to be like all over the neighborhood. And it'll be, and so it'll be just like advertising with coupons all over the neighborhood. And then so I'll go to the neighborhood businesses and I'll be like, hey, do you want to be on this thing for $100? You can be on it for a month. And then I'll be able to track the numbers and know exactly how many people click on things so that I can just sell advertisements to people, and that'll also make money for the show. That's my plan so far. What do you think?
To me.
Yeah, you're the only person that who else would I be talking to?
I don't know.
Right here.
The people that watch it later.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be weekly. Do you prefer weekly over like monthly? Do you think there's any like addition? I mean, of course, the money benefits, but which do you think is better if you're starting out? If I'm a comic starting out, would you advise me to do a monthly or a weekly show?
Well, here's the thing. I think that a monthly, the reason that you're deciding between monthly and weekly is because you're trying to figure out, like, you don't want the amount of production and promotion time that it takes. That's what you're worried about. So in what I just described, I don't have to do that. Like, I have somebody who promotes, and the bar is giving me money that pays that person to promote. So that's not my issue. Because if I'm just like, so think about this. If you could do a show and all you had to do was book comics and you had help doing that too. If you're doing a show, all you wanted to do is book comics, then you could, if you're doing a show and all you wanted to do is book comics, you could just have a killer show, because if someone else was already making sure that the house was full with people, so you can also invite people on top of that, but anybody you invite on top is just extra. They're going to show up to a party that's like already popping. So in that case, if you can design a show where it's sustainable weekly, that's the thing. If you want to make your show sustainable. So either your show is sustainable monthly or it's sustainable weekly, but the key is sustainable. You don't want to burn yourself out. You don't want to burn yourself out. You don't want to do something, especially where you start off strong, but then it's like really too hard to keep up. But it's not going to be hard to keep up as long as someone is, as long as it's a killer show. And it will be a killer show, because I'm going to just have, excellent comics booked. That's it. That's the plan. Anyway, so if you're out there and you're thinking about doing a show, what's free? Oh, what? Oh, we're freezing. Are you freezing? Can you hear me?
I'm freezing. I'm about to. Yeah, I'm about to refresh it.
You seem fine to me. Okay, we'll see what happens. You seem fine to me. I don't know. I don't know.
You were lagging on mine, but it's definitely mine. Joey, cut this out. Let me write that down. What is it? 12. I'll put it on my phone. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, are you co-hosting this show, or are you just hanging out? What are you doing?
I was waiting for you were telling a story. I don't want to interrupt your story. Hold on, I'm putting the notes for the edit. Okay. Yeah. Want to hear about mine?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I want to know, because as I'm putting this whole thing together, I want to know what's the best way to do it. And so, like, I want to add to my idea for how to do the show. I want to add your ideas to my ideas as well.
Fusion dance them.
Yes.
So one of the shows I did that was like probably one of my favorite things I did at a bar wasn't even a comedy show. So actually, I was getting paid $100 a week to host a Cards Against Humanity tournament. And it was really good. Like the bar did most of the promotion. I also started to promote. But I was able to kind of do comedy throughout the show. Right. But the best part of that for me was like I was able to bring like consistent people in. and then I got
Mm-hmm.
those people's contact information, and then I would invite them to my shows. So any other comedy show I was on, I was able to kind of like build this database of people that already liked me because we're in like this fun environment and we're drinking and stuff. And then I was able to build that up and then get them to come to my other shows.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's important, like just collecting data so that you can use it for other stuff.
Yeah, that's
Oh no, go ahead.
no, that's awesome. That's smart. I mean, in a way, I'm also collecting data with the game because you will get everybody's like name and email list and build an email list for the show through the game.
What do you use for your email list?
Well, right now I am using a combination of things. Well, and unfortunately, I don't know which is the best right now. So I use Apollo. I use Apollo for like email campaigns, and that's just a thing that you're gonna have to get used to eventually in the future, like what an email campaign is. I use Mailchimp for just like straight up email list. Uh, and then there's also an app I use called Cladura, which is like a newer thing, but that is actually pretty good as well.
What's the cheapest, MailChimp?
Um, yes, so far, but I don't know what the future is going to hold because as your email list grows, then it's a different thing.
Yeah, I definitely need to do it because I've just been emailing like individually, and it takes a very long time. So yeah, I need to look into like an actual email service. I have a question for you too, real
Yeah.
quick. So let's say I want to host a weekly show, but the bar doesn't want to pay, but I'm just like a new comic. I just want to do a show, right? How would you suggest I do that? Would you make it an open mic? How would you format the show?
Wait, you just want to do a show?
Yeah, I'm just a new comic. I'm not like getting really any shows. I just want to do a show. Like I want to put together my own show.
I mean, if you want to put together your own show, I think that the easiest thing to do is have what I call an informal open mic. Just basically a show that's basically an open mic, but you don't have to let people on if you don't want to.
What?
No, you just like say so just so I think that's really I think it would be possible to do a show. Okay, I haven't done this before, but the main thing that you need for a show is an audience. I remember at one point at one point we were doing shows. I forgot who arranged it, but they had the smartest idea. They would just arrange free shows for like college kids. Okay. So college, like, so it was like right by a college campus and it would be a free show for them. And so it was always packed because they were always looking for something to do because like half of them can't drink, you know. And so he just found a space and then like just started doing a free show. It was great for the comics because then we could come in and we would have a real audience, a real excited audience to perform in front of. I think that I've never done that, but I think that that's one of the things that I would do if I was just like trying to start from zero, which is I would just try and find an audience that was eager because you don't even have to charge them. You don't even have to charge them for the show if it's a full house because if you've just got a full house of people, the comics are going to want to come and perform because it's going to be a great show. And then you're going to get the practice that you need in front of a real audience. But that doesn't necessarily make you money. But you can in those cases when you have a full house of people. That's when you can actually be like, hey, throw some Venmo money this way, and then you'll probably at least
do on tips and stuff.
Yeah, because I used to do the NYC talent show, and then we'd pass the bucket at the end of the show, and if it was a full house, like we would get like $100,
Everybody gets something. That's a good idea. I'm trying to
Exactly.
see the last other way I did a bar show. I think I just did it kind of similar to you. Like the bar wanted to do a show, they hit me up and they were just paying something, so I would just pay the comics and do that. I promote it way more on social media. Like that's my main means of social promotion. I haven't done too much like printed flyers and pass them out like earlier I did, but more recently I just kind of use social media. I'll use Eventbrite. We talked about this before, but like I didn't know that Eventbrite will make your stuff searchable in Google. So like if people are looking up stuff to do, if you put your event in Eventbrite, it'll come up. So I use Eventbrite. I haven't really used Meetup too much, but I kind of have a social media audience. So I just kind of post on there and just like DM everybody. I'm real big on like personally DMing people. I think they like it. I think people like when you're like, hey buddy, come out to this show, my friend. So yeah, I do more personal individual stuff, which takes a long time. There definitely has to be a way for me to make it faster.
Yeah, I like doing one of my favorite things about doing about putting together a show like this though is a place to showcase my work. So like right now
Mm-hmm.
on the internet, it's a big deal. Like if if you put up if you put up if you put up video of yourself doing stand up with good audio, like it's very useful to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so to make a place where I have always a full house of people so that I can like, showcase that is great.
That's smart. Are you how are you lighting it? Are you just doing a ring light? Are you bringing in lights to film, or are you just?
I'm just gonna. I'm. All you really need at a bar show is one spotlight because a
Mm-hmm.
spotlight will light your face correctly, and so a spotlight will light your face correctly, and so all you need at a bar show is just the ability to like light their faces correctly. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
bars have good enough light, but if they don't have good enough light, that's the one thing you need, just a light pointed at the comedian's face. That helps so much.
How much is a spotlight? I'm
There's
gonna look
like
it
a
up.
lot of different
But,
prices for spotlights, but you can get them for as little as like I think $30. Just like a spotlight that you
oh
can
yeah,
point at
you're
someone's
cheap.
face. Yeah, yeah, just like a spotlight you can
Yeah,
point at someone's
I'll have to
face.
put
$30.
one of these.
Boom.
Use your
Um,
phone on a tripod.
yeah, you can throw your phone on a tripod, and I've actually done this. I've done this already, where like you can plug into the audio of whatever place you are at, and then record audio, and then plug your phone in, and your phone records your audio and the sound of the audience. So then you have a clean audio of your voice, and then you'll have the sound of you have a clean audio of your voice, and then you'll have the audience sound too. And then at that point, it's really
Mm-hmm.
easy to just like put together a really good sounding tape.
What do you use to plug into the sound thing?
I use a an adapter. So like every every soundboard has like an RCA out or like a phones out, and then so
Mm-hmm.
you or just like every single thing has like some sort of out plug, and you just have to look at that plug, know what it's called, and then know what kind of plug your recorder has. Because I have like a little
Mm.
recorder that's about the size of a Snickers bar, which is right here, and I just take that with me, and I can just plug it into something, and then just hit record, and it's like it has its own storage, and then at the end, I can a USB port, I can plug it into a computer, and it's done.
Oh, I got you. So you use that for you, and then you said you use your phone for the audience, or you use a separate recorder for the audience too, and your phone.
Yes, I use the phone for the audience or a separate recorder. It's easy to use my phone because I have so like if you have a phone, even an old phone, which is great. If you just have an old phone with no memory, nothing on it besides you just have take an old phone, charge it up 100%, and then just stick it in the back of the room and just turn it on, and it'll record for like an hour or two.
Are you scared
And
about somebody stealing your phone?
no, not in a crowded room.
Mm-hmm. I get that question. Somebody just asked me that. They're like, when you record, do you think somebody's going to take your phone? I'm like, on the tripod? I'm like, you got to be a bold person to just steal this phone while I'm up here
Yeah,
with these other people standing here.
not to mention your phone's pointed at you. You can see it the whole time. You see your phone.
Yeah, I'll fight you off the stage.
Yeah.
How much do the recorders usually run for?
It depends on the kind of recorder. I think this one, which is a pretty nice one, this one I think was like, but it's a low end nice one. So this one was like think $60,
Oh, okay.
but I've had
Not
it
crazy.
for like 8 years. Like it's great, and it still works.
Awesome. I need to cop me one. Yeah, I definitely need to record more when I go out to just even like bar shows and stuff like that. Like those clips do go viral. It's a lot of comedians getting a lot of work just because they're recording themselves consistently when they're going up.
Not only that, you do this recorder, and if you can't plug into the audio there, you can still take a little lav microphone and stick it in here and then stick it on yourself, and you still have a good recording of your voice.
Which one usually sounds better to you? Straight out the thing?
Yeah, direct, of course. It sounds better, but if that's not the case, you can still put this on and you still have your voice separate from the audience, which is really useful still.
Yeah, I'm putting stuff in my Amazon cart as we're speaking because I definitely need some more stuff.
Well, this is probably the longest episode we've ever done of the show.
Is it?
It is. So let's just
I like
wrap
this
it up.
format.
I do. I like the format too. I think it's going to be really helpful to people. If you're out there, everyone, and because the show is usually like 15 to at the max 25 minutes, isn't it? Usually. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is an episode. If you've got ideas about how even to make the show better, please let me know. Also follow Dynamo Kingdom at Dynamo Kingdom on Instagram if you want to see the show. Because when Roxy is out in New York, she's definitely going to be rocking this show for real, right?
I'm going in June. Yeah, I'm coming in. I already started looking at tickets and stuff. I'm planning my trips out. So it'll be sometime in June, and I'm going to record.
Exactly. All right.
See how it ties all back. It ties back.
Yeah. So if you're a comedian and you're trying to do a show, or if you're a musician and you're trying to do a show, or whoever, I hope you found a lot of this helpful, and or some of it. Any of it, even a small amount. Even a
what
smidge.
A great.
Even a smidge helpful.
All you need.
But yeah, the whole idea is we're going to dedicate the podcast to taking your art and turning it into money. So let's do that, because artists need money to keep making stuff, right?
That is relieve some of that stress. Being broke is stressful. Let's help you take some stress out.
Exactly. Being broke is stressful. Let's keep it up, everybody.
Stress. Bye.
You can find us at artsacademypodcast.com.